This pandemic began, we were not sure how it spread. Everyone began wearing masks and using hand sanitizers, great ways to slow the spread, but a lot of people still get sick. I can personally attest to that. We now know that COVID 19 spreads via aerosols and droplets from the nose and mouth, and I've been thinking about this for a while. Why aren't we also sanitizing the nose and mouth, killing the virus directly at the place where it spreads? Why weren't more doctors thinking about this? Well, some doctors have done the research. Wish I discovered it sooner. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Halodyne. It's an FDA registered antiseptic for the nose and mouth that's proven to eliminate 99.99% of the virus that causes COVID 19 in just 15 seconds. That's right. It's created by a team of clinicians with decades of experience in antiviral treatments, initially created to protect healthcare workers. These are smart scientists, and it's a great product that also eliminates many other viruses and infecting particles. I'm using both their nasal antiseptic swab and their oral spray to help protect those around me, and you should be too. For others and for yourself. Whether you're hopping on a 3-hour flight, always use it there, visiting grandparents, or attending a meeting that you can't miss, Halodyne's family of oral and nasal antiseptics give you the safe, easy, on-the-go antiviral protection for up to 4 hours. I encourage you to try Halodyne at halodyne.com today. My listeners get 10% off with the discount code Dr. Drew. That is HALODINE.com, discount code DRDREW. So obvious, it just makes sense. Stop the virus before it spreads and gets in your body with Halodyne.
Hey everyone, it's a dose of Dr. Drew and Anthony Brown.
Anthony Brown making an illustrious comeback. I've got the dogs running up to me just as we get in here.
Okay, forget the dogs. We're doing a show here.
Anthony, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you, Dr. Drew?
I am good. We're following everybody on Restream here, and we are just kind of chatting it up. I thought, Susan, also I might go out to our friends at, what do you call it? Where we get our phone calls.
We're going to go on Clubhouse.
Yeah. Are we going to do that today? Do you think? Well, maybe not. So, Anthony, what's going on in your life? Last time we talked to you, we had a major COVID outbreak in your institution, and you kind of got that under control. What was that like? What happened?
Well, it was crazy, to be honest with you. First we had, one case, and then we had 5, and next thing you know, we had half the building, and a large percentage of the clients and the staff got COVID, and just having to go through, the 14-day quarantine and shifting around things, and it was a mess, but it was doable, and it taught us a lot of things.
Like how about infection control, or about vaccine therapies, or how to tolerate an emergency? All of the above.
All of the above. Infection control, we got really skilled at that as far as PPE. We're a psych facility.
Yeah.
And having to make adjustments, putting on a shield and worry about, okay, well, if the client's going to try to grab the shield and, cut somebody with it, we had to go through all of that stuff. We switched from shield to goggles and, putting our gowns, and trying to keep people at a 6-foot distance is almost impossible when you're delusional. And, it was interesting.
What makes your facility different than an acute psych, other than that you can't keep people, you're not LPS certified in a sense. You have sort of a different thing. What clinically is different there?
Clinically, we are a TRC, which means that most of the time when you get to us, you're pretty much stabilized on your medication. So we're going to try to teach you some sort of skills that you can utilize going out into the community. And we're one step before you actually get back into the community.
And how's that working? Like, what percentage of people do you feel like you succeed in getting them back to the? Is it independent living or workforce or both?
Most people, because everybody there is conserved, they end up going to some sort of boarding care and things like that, and then from there, we just lose track. I have seen a lot of recidivism, clients coming back and things of that nature. But once, the numbers are really low as far as people actually staying on their medication, staying away from drugs, all of that. So,
you said most people are on conservatorship. Is it? Do you feel as though it's our conservatorship system in California is adequate, or at least adequately accessible for people that need it?
I think it's adequately accessible. The gap and the problem is there's very little follow-up. I mean, even though you're conserved, if you're county conserved, you'll have one person watching over 200 or 300 people.
Mm-hmm.
And so how can you do something individualized to help out, other clients and things of that nature? So they rely on other services to be able to offer the support that the clients need as far as rehabilitation and reacclimation and learning independent living skills and all that stuff that's really important for them to stay out.
And are most people, getting people to you take too long? In other words, the fact that our system is sort of screwed up the way it is and that people stay sick longer than they should makes it that much harder to bring them back, doesn't it?
It does, but we're we have a waiting list. There's people in other acute hospitals just waiting to get down to our level so that we can transition them out back into the community.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we're long-term care, once in a while we'll have somebody there for years, but most people are able to get stabilized and sent out to the community within a year.
How many beds?
We have 46.
Can I excuse me for a second, Drew? Did you hook up to Clubhouse?
No.
Okay.
At 46 beds. Do you feel? By the way, people want to know if you're going to go skydiving again.
One of these days, most definitely.
All right. Do you feel as though we have enough residential beds like the ones you guys offer?
I don't think we have enough, and
Right.
we don't have enough transitional care, because once you leave us, we can get you stabilized on your meds. We can get you to the point where you're able to take your own medications. You can explain what your medications are. You know what they're for. We can get you involved in 12-step meetings. We can get you to learn different coping strategies, anger management, stress reduction. We can do all of that. But once you leave us, then it seems like the ball gets dropped.
Right. Do you feel that Orange County does a better job than Los Angeles County?
If I said yes, I'd be sounding biased because I work in Orange County.
Well, I got to say, I don't even know where the residential facilities are in Los Angeles County, and people are just on the street, and they don't seem to get anywhere. They go from locked unit to the street. I don't see where anyone's getting care here.
Well, if that's the case, then yeah, we do provide a better service. There has to be somewhere, because everyone's complaining about there's too much homeless.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's do something about it. I know there is a method, or there is a solution, because I've experienced it. It's just, how do you carbon copy what I encountered and what I know and spread it out to the vast hundreds of thousands that need it?
Well, and to be fair, you got yourself, you had trauma and addiction. You really didn't have SMI. You really didn't have serious mental illness, really. And I'm imagining most of the people these days have addiction and SMI.
Yes. I tend to hang out with the homeless people when I have time, and I found this really cool couple. They're both are delusional. They're both are homeless. Both have substance abuse issues, and just to talk to them, you can see the SMI. You can clearly see it. You see the flight of ideas. You see tangential speaking. You see it all there. And once in a while, I'd hear her say, "Do you think I have a mental illness?" And then she goes off, on other things. And I've spoken with them, and they have had help, and they've had hospitalizations, and they have been on medication. But what happened between then and now?
Right. They needed long-term custodial something, some sort of living environment, right? And there needs to be some ability to keep them in that environment so they can continue to thrive. No?
Yeah, I agree. But we run into this patients' rights and right to autonomy, and because these days all you have to do is say, "I know where I'm going to eat. I know I should take my medications."
That's right. And that's it. That's a mistake. That's a mistake. That is killing people. People are dying at an extraordinary rate because of stupidity like that. So, yeah, to me, it's really, really deeply concerning that we don't have adequate care, adequate environment, adequate people. This is what people don't understand. That, like, for instance, in Echo Park, they cleared the park out and they gave everyone psychiatric services and a place to stay. That's it. They were given everything. Didn't want it. Didn't want to go. They wanted to stay in their home, which was the tent on the park. And it was, unless you just say, no, you got to come with me. And you know how it is when you're an addict. You don't want to stop. Last thing you want to do is stop using. Very last thing.
Yeah, almost definitely. Once that bell goes off, that's it. Once you get started and you're an addict, then no, you don't want to stop. You can't stop.
Right, you can't. And so if you go, this is one of the things that bothers me. If you go to people in the street and you say, "Do you want to come with me to get some help?" That in their head means stopping using. So of course not. No. By the same token, you mentioned how you go out and talk to people that are homeless, as do I. And I am really disturbed by the fact that the people that collect data on homelessness don't know how to do a psych interview the way you or I do. They would never, it's not like people with serious mental illness or addiction are upfront with all that. They have anosognosia, so it's all in denial, it's all hidden, it's not going to be forthcoming unless you know how to ask the questions. And so the data is so profoundly distorted because of that.
Yeah, it's fascinating because all you need is to have some sort of education, even on looking at what mental illness is or what are some of the signs and symptoms. You can assess somebody just by looking at, are they disheveled? What's their content of speech? What is that all about? And if you're comfortable with talking to someone,
but most people don't know what delusional thought processes look like. They don't know what flight of ideas and pressured speech is, which you'd mentioned already. And then when you talk to a drug addict, I mean, let's say let's say I came up to you on what was your favorite your last intersection?
Harbor and Wilson.
Where was it?
Harbor and Wilson.
Harbor and Wilson. And when I came up to you, I would go, Anthony, what are you up to? What's first? Hey, you're homeless. You need any help?
Well, I mean, first I'm gonna ask if you're a cop.
Yeah. Not a cop, just curious, just interested. It would be a whole 10-minute conversation before we got to cocaine. You know what I'm saying? Right? And even then, you'd be circumspect about it because you'd think I was a cop.
Yeah, I mean, I'll see if you had a few extra coins in your pocket, and I have to get something to eat. I'm gonna manipulate, but then if you appear to be cool, because I can tell if somebody's cool when I'm out of my disease regardless. And all you have to do is say a few buzzwords. The next thing you know, I'm just going to get on. It's like, man, I need to get high. Can you help me out?
Yeah. So I've been downtown many times where I've talked to people, in Skid Row and stuff. They're like, no. And then it's like, well, an interesting and common thread is, well, the meth got me here or the cocaine got me here, but I'm not really that into it right now. It's like, really? It's like, I don't know about that. If you don't mind, if people who are new to maybe this thread tonight, tell them your story, very, very sort of sketch it out for people. We've been over it many times, of course, but just sketch it for people, what happened to you and where you ended up.
I come from an abusive background. At the age 9, found my mom laying on the floor. She got shot in the head. Drank, did drugs, ran away from home at 14, became homeless. Continued to do that.
Carney. Don't forget the carney. I like that part. It's industrious.
Yeah, I ran off when I was a carny. I joined a carnival from about 15 to 18, which was my first real job, actually, and it allowed me to do whatever I wanted to do. And so I did that. And then after the carny life, I lived in abandoned houses and decided to come to California and live like the Beverly Hillbillies as I see it on TV. And when I got to California, it was nothing like that. But I did find a park and some drugs and, continued on until one day a police officer that got tired of arresting me asked me if I wanted some help. And by then I was just so far off of my addiction and, being homeless and angry. I mean, nothing was working. So I just threw caution to the wind and said, yeah, I needed some help. And a lady scholarshiped me to a treatment program, which I had some issues adjusting to because I'm so used to not trusting people and being homeless, and you put me indoors with clean sheets. I'm thinking there's like something going on here. And so, but I adjusted and I got into recovery and stayed sober last week, 22 years, went to school.
Yeah, man.
And, I'm out trying to do what I can to help other people like me.
Do me I'm gonna have you talk to us about Brand Manor in a second, but just tell them the story about your thinking when you were arrested and what you thought the problem was, because it's such a great example of addictive thinking. I hope you don't mind me always going back to that, but it's so interesting to me.
Yeah, I because when I'm out in the streets, I'm unemployable. I can't work nowhere. I hang out in back alleys. I drink wine, and I do a bunch of drugs. And so my only source of income was either to steal something or attempt to sell drugs. And I say attempt because I kept getting arrested. I wasn't doing it good. But my idea was I would go to Harbor and Wilson, and I would sell drugs. And the first time I got arrested, they put me in a county jail. And it's funny, I still remember that address, 550 North Flower Street, Santa Ana, California, 92703. That's what I lived with. And so they put me in the county. I got out of the county jail, went back to Harbor and Wilson. I got busted again. Then they sent me to Donovan prison, and I'm sitting in prison going, well, there's a problem here. And so the problem to me at that point was I wasn't hiding my drugs good enough.
I love it.
And so I thought that, the little coin pocket in your jeans could be a great place to stash, because don't you know, I'm the big drug dealer, everything can fit in that little pocket. And so I got out and I went back to Harbor and Wilson, and I got busted. They sent me to Chino from Chino, I went to another prison. I'm sitting in prison going, well, there's a problem. And I figured I knew what the problem was. And so when I got released, I went back to Harbor and Wilson, and I hid the drugs in my sock because it was a different place to hide them.
That was the problem. I got the wrong hiding place. And then you even went, then it was the wrong corner, right?
Yeah. After about the third time of Harbor and Wilson, then I knew the problem was definitely Harbor and Wilson. So I went one block south.
But is it interesting when you're in addiction, you locate whatever is happening outside of yourself. The problems are all out there. They're not in here, right?
Yeah, I didn't have a problem. Everybody else had a problem.
Right.
Just leave it alone.
Right.
I got this under control.
Right, and that's the nature of addiction, right? Is the brain in the state of addiction will consider anything except something that might make it conclude it needs to stop using. So it won't even contemplate those things. That's just how it works until you've really, really had enough. Tell us about Brown Manor.
Brown Manor is I have addiction runs in my family, and so does the byproducts of addiction. And my brother, he just happened to be living on the streets, and he was staying in an abandoned house. And at this time, I have some income, so I thought, well, okay, I'll purchase this abandoned house he's living in, so he's got a roof over his head, but he couldn't pull a trigger. So I got a resentment. I bought a mansion, and it was an abandoned 1916 mansion I call Brown Manor. And currently, I'm working on that to be able to allow the homeless people to have a place of transition.
We're showing pictures of it, and there's a GoFundMe to try to help Anthony do that, right?
Yes, there's a GoFundMe.
How's that going?
Brown Manor, since I'm living on this side of the tracks, and I call it Squaresville because, my book is from Park Bench to Park Avenue. And when I was in the street, the people who were going to work and having cars and having a life, you guys were squares.
Unenlightened. Yeah.
Yeah. And so now, since I've been sober and going to work and everything, I'm a square now. And so I live in Squaresville. And Squaresville is hard.
Squaresville's hard. I love it. I love it. Squaresville is hard.
It is hard, man. Brown Manor, I'm all the donations and everything from my book and my work, because I work a couple of jobs, I put money into Brown Manor. And right now I had to stop because I ran out of money. And so I had to decide what to do, but people in Squaresville are helping me learn how to live a square life. And so I ran into a guy who told me, because there's a lot of stuff I don't know, because I've been out in the streets and, most of my adult life, and learning how to do certain things is new.
Yeah. And
discovering that Brown Manor isn't just a house, it's a business, and having to go through, turning that into an LLC and setting up bank accounts with that.
Yeah.
That stuff it's hard.
Yeah. Wait till you get into all the liability issues and taxes. Who the hell knows? There's so much stuff every time you try to do something in this world.
We have to get a t-shirt. Squaresville is hard.
Squaresville is hard. With Christmas. Welcome to Squaresville. Tell us about how the teaching's going. What are your observations about students these days, and what are you teaching?
I Well, as you know, I'm a director of nursing at a hospital, and I work full time there, and I'm a full time teacher at Cypress College, and I teach nursing science for the Psych Tech students. And working with students, I mean, God bless them. They're so interesting because a lot of people that are getting into the field have no clue,
Right.
and I teach first semester, and they're brand new. And I was sitting there the other day trying to teach them a cardiac system. And I'm just like trying everything in my power to get this information into their head. I mean, I'm explaining the heart. Okay, the heart, first of all, has 4 chambers. And they're like, how many? Like, 4. Okay, like 1, 2, 3, 4. You get 4?
Wow.
Like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, now let's cut the heart in half. The top part is the atrium, and the bottom part is the ventricles. You got it? And they're like, okay.
Wow.
So the ventricles are on top. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh.
And I haven't even see the blood flowing through the heart or the conduction system. And I'm like, oh my God, like really, you guys are gonna be like taking care of people's lives. And okay, let's start from the beginning. Inside, in the center of your chest is called a
It
heart.
pumps blood around. Blood. What's blood? Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But it's fun, and I have to remember at one point in time I didn't know this information.
Yeah, it takes
And
time.
so I pray for extra patience, and take deep breaths and show them pictures, and put up little YouTube videos, and I'm having a blast. And the thing that's fascinating is I come from a place, or when I first got started on my journey, I had an 8th grade education. I was homeless,
Hmm.
and now I'm teaching people how the heart works.
Yeah. Why do most of them get into this, given they seem to not even understand, forget basic physiology? I imagine their concepts about psychiatric illness are probably all over the place.
Yeah, we haven't even touched that yet.
Yeah.
But a lot of people get into it because some have relatives that have. We deal with people that have MIs, and we deal with people that have developmental disabilities, and a lot of them have relatives that might have some of these symptoms or syndromes.
Yeah.
Or some people just want to ease themselves into nursing, so they go and become a psych tech first, and then transition on to being a nurse. That's what I did.
Interesting. Oh, I didn't know you did that. When you started first training in the psychiatric setting, were you surprised by psych illness or fascinated by it? Or I've never heard that part of your journey, what that was like for you when the light bulbs, did light bulbs go off? What happened?
When I first started, I got a job as a janitor at a state facility. And I was watching the way some of the techs would handle the clients. And I thought, oh my God, these people are like putting hands on people. And that's not cool, But I didn't know that this was a qualified move on how to contain and restrain people. I just thought they were like just beating them up.
Oh boy.
And so I was telling my friends, I'm like, dude, if you don't like what you see, do something about it. And so I went to school, and then I started getting more involved. And I've always rooted for the underdog, and I just love it, man. I just love watching people get it, even if it's just to the point where they're able to utilize a fork and a spoon correctly, or they stop hitting you with lunch trays. I mean, that stuff is cool.
When they stop hitting you with a lunch tray.
Oh my God, I got chased around the dining room. I didn't know nothing about OCD, nothing. And there was someone with a dual diagnosis, developmental disability and mental illness, and he had severe OCD. Everything had to be perfect. And he would only eat like rice and noodles, and the cups had to be lined up perfect. Well, I didn't know. And so I moved the cup closer to him so he could reach it. And this dude just jumped up and hit me with the tray and chased me around the dining room. And I'm like, whoa, this is like not good.
What stage were you in your training at that point?
I was like first semester. I was a little newbie.
Oh my God.
And nursing, head of nursing directors, those sorts of positions are really stressful. A lot of administrative nonsense you have to put up with. What's the most challenging part of your job now?
Politics.
But there's, I imagine, just shit tons of paperwork. Getting the JACO stuff.
Politics and paperwork.
Yeah, politics with whom? Let's put it that way.
Politics. I'm a director of nursing. I've been doing healthcare since 2001, and I've been working in psych. That's my specialty. I love it. That's what I do. And to have like administrators come in or people who don't have any
Oh,
nursing background
I see.
tell me
Yeah.
what to do.
Yeah, yeah,
um,
yeah.
and it's like
That's not good.
no, and see, just because I've been sober and I'm trying every day to live my life right, there's still a small bolt loose inside my head. And once in a while, I want to give people my opinion, but I can't. And when I go through this and I just want to go, you know what, dude, just get, I mean, I told one supervisor, get the hell out of my office. And he's like, I'm your boss. Like, I really don't give a damn, you know? And I had to answer to people for that. But I just, it's, the politics is hard because I know what the clients need. I mean,
Yeah.
I train people to deal with this. I really don't need somebody who worry about the bottom line and numbers and
Yeah, yeah.
have to tell me how to do nursing. And so that's one of the difficult parts.
Yeah, there really should be a very clear line between administration and nursing. I mean, you certainly have to provide a ton of information to administration, and you may have, guidance for administration in terms of what what their needs are. But for them to tell you what to do in terms of nursing policy, oh boy, that's when things get off the rail.
Yeah, I mean, it drives me crazy. We had a guy who broke the top of a toilet seat once and cut his neck. He cut an artery and blood was spurting everywhere, and like everybody's going crazy. I'm like, you know what, man? You guys just contain him, holding down the pipe pressure, call 911.
Yeah.
And the administration comes up and goes, well, do you think you're handling that correctly? I'm like, I'm in the middle of a crisis right now. How about this? What if I just let the bleeding go and you jump in on it?
What did he want you to do?
I don't know what he wants, but I deal with stuff like that, and thank goodness I go in my little office, shut the door, pray, drink a bunch of coffee, yell at my assistant May, and everything.
Yell at May. Is she okay? How does she deal with it?
May turns around and yell at Kitsy, and Kitsy yells at the CNA.
All right, fair enough. Okay, there you go.
It just trickles downhill.
Hey, I wonder if you're keeping up on the whole George Floyd mess. Are you watching that trial?
I am. It's sad that stuff like this happens,
Yeah.
and it's sad that people are so doggone angry.
Yes.
Yes. And I mean, I'm from the '60s, and civil rights really isn't that old in the United States.
That's right.
And some of the thinking is still old fashioned. And, for a while, people were at least able to suppress their inner feelings. Now it's like just wide open. And watching this Floyd thing, I mean, it's just crazy because we're in a situation where you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I mean, God bless the cops. The cops saved my life. I need that. But if you're doing something wrong, you should be held accountable. You should be held accountable for it.
Right. I mean, we have a different sort of set of standards. Just before we started, I was reading something about how rare it is for cops to be convicted of anything, and I think it's some sort of sense that if they made the liability higher or more like you or I would have, that nobody would be a cop. I think there's fear of something like that out there, I suspect. The other thing, I get really bugged when people go, well, George was on a bunch of drugs. George was a drug addict. That has nothing to do with anything. That is a zero part of the story. And that's like saying any of your patients or my patients deserve that, right? So that I hate that part keeps coming in. But George was a drug addict, and George should have been treated. That's the part that breaks my heart. Somebody like George could have been like you, could have been thriving one day, right?
Yeah, oh, definitely. And I mean, that's not a way you treat a drug addict anyway.
Right.
And from my experiences, and believe me, I've been handcuffed a time or two. From my experience, once I stop resisting, then I'm done. That's it. I'm tapped out. Just go ahead and pick me up and take me to jail. I'm cool. But to just go to that point, I don't know. Adrenalines are flowing, all kinds of stuff is going through. But I'm in a situation in life. If I do something wrong, I'm held accountable for it.
Right. I got to tell you too, my friends of mine that are cops, there's a woman, oh shoot, I'm blanking on her name right now. She wrote a book called Black and Blue about LA police. Oh, I can't believe I'm not coming up with the name. But she always coached me to understand that when stuff like this goes down, it's really the supervisor's fault. And there's a problem with the administration at the police, the way the police are running, where there should have been a sergeant, should have been a supervisor already there, sort of helping manage the situation that was out of control. And, I don't hear anybody talking about that either. It's just, this isn't going to be, I don't know. I'm worried about it. I'm very worried about it.
Yeah, it's gonna, unfortunately, things are gonna play out exactly the way, I believe in predestined and all that stuff. It's gonna turn out exactly the way it should be. Maybe, it might hold people accountable for that did wrong, and that's gonna set a standard. Or, I just hope people don't think that they need to have justice in their own hands. I agree. If I was to ever do anything, or even if I had the opportunity, I would love to go and do an in-service or
To
some
cops.
sort of
To cops.
yeah, some sort of lecture.
Yeah.
And because I don't know how much mental illness training they get. I know a lot of people in the healthcare profession don't get much mental illness training.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I've been looking for opportunities for you and I to go in and talk to people, because I think we'd be a pretty good 1-2 punch. But people that become cops don't go into policing to deal with mental illness, and they're usually very frustrated having to do so, and they don't want that to be their job, and it shouldn't be their job.
Some of them have their own mental illness problems.
When I've dealt with that, it's, I've treated a bit of that, that's a whole different thing. That's usually more to their own detriment, because they have such this machismo attitudes. They're afraid to tell their employee assistant anything, and it gets bad. It gets bad to their detriment, not to the public so much. All right. I'm looking at the thread to see if anybody has any questions for Anthony. You guys have anything?
Should we hook up the clubhouse?
You want to do it?
I think we have a few people in the stream that want to call in. So.
Okay. Let's see if I can set something up very quickly.
I'll push the button.
I plugged in, Susan, so it's by.
Oh, we have the plug-in now?
Yes, we have the plug-in.
Where does that go?
I don't know. I was told that.
Where does the sound come from?
Well, you're going to follow this wire. So it goes under the chairs there, I think.
I know, but I don't know which controller I use for it.
Do you want to go to it and just?
Let me. Can you just do the Bluetooth today? I don't know how that works. He hasn't explained it to me yet.
Okay. We'll do the Bluetooth.
It's fine. The sound's good enough.
All right.
We'll just hook up unless it goes in where the Bluetooth goes.
You got me.
Sorry, you guys, but. So I'm gonna push the button.
Hold on, I gotta get the Bluetooth up.
Okay.
Still taking its good old time.
So yeah.
What the hell is a plug-in, with Chris? It's like you plug something in
into the board,
as opposed to connection.
Phone.
Connection unsuccessful.
But I don't know which.
Connection unsuccessful, Susan. According to my phone.
All right, let me turn it off and on again.
All right, Anthony, what was a case that brought you to one of your most...
Okay, try again.
Hold on a second. Anthony, this is from Aaron. What was a case that brought you to one of your most emotional states with a success of a patient?
With a success?
Well, either way, what did you witness? What kind of situation have you been in that made you feel emotionally one way or another?
For the first death really got me. I was working at a facility, and for years I was doing CPR, resuscitating, following algorithms, saving people's lives and everything. And there was one death that was pretty gruesome. Someone had stuffed paper towels in somebody's nose and a T-shirt in their mouth and put a plastic bag over their head, put shaving cream in their eyes, wrapped their stitcher cord around it.
Oh my God.
And, stabbed them in the chest with a pencil. And when that first got brought to my attention, my supervisor seen it first, and they took off running. I'm like, what's going on? They said, well, there's a problem going on in the room. And I opened up the door, and that's what it was.
Wait a minute. Somebody, hold on a second. This was in a psych hospital?
Yes.
And somebody did that to somebody in the hospital?
Yes.
Oh my God. Is that hospital still running?
It is because, well, the people that were responsible for it no longer have licenses.
Were they just not
But
watching? What happened?
yeah, you're supposed to do rounds,
Yeah.
and especially a psych hospital. And if you know there's a client that's one-to-one, I mean, in long-term care, and this didn't happen at the facility I'm currently working at, but it's one of the places I worked at. When you're in long-term care, you know your clients because they're the same people you see every day. And everybody knows this one particular person has to be one-to-one. Has to be.
Yes.
And they left this person by themselves and she committed this. And I came in on night shift and I seen it and I had to resuscitate her. And I mean, I had to go to the hospital and answer questions. Well, it was just nuts. And it messed with me for a while. I mean, I developed an attitude. I was going to work just cussing people out. Just go, you know, F you. It's like, don't even bother me right now because it could have been avoided. And that bothered me. So that was one of those emotional things. One of the happiest days of my life was one of my clients made it through the system and I was going to Walmart and they were working there and they looked at me and go, hey, you look familiar. Do I know you? You know, and I'm like, no, not really. Unless you've been around in some 12-step circle. And I'm like, you just look familiar. And they go, okay, have a nice day. And it's like,
who was it?
One of my clients from the hospital.
Oh.
Yeah. And so, or when I see somebody that was homeless and, got their life together or, people tell me, oh man, look, I got 30, 60, 90 days sober. I'm living indoors. I'm taking my meds. I mean, I high-five the heck out of that all the time, man.
Yeah, and I see a good bit of that. And we had great success with that, even in the very difficult cases like the ones you're dealing with. And I don't understand. Well, my profession, they've not trained anybody to do that anymore. Everyone's in this sort of a harm avoidance, medication-assisted therapy, that kind of stuff. So they really don't know, which is fine, but it's not anything that it's just a piece of the story.
Yeah, that I do groups for people that are just transitioning out of prison and getting reacclimated back into society. Mm-hmm. And a guy shared with me something that was really troubling. He said that, I was in prison for 2 years. When I first went to prison, I had a drug problem. I didn't use for the whole duration. And 2 weeks before I left prison, they put me on a medication assistant.
Right. That happens a lot. That kind of thing happens. That's not unusual at all. The guy's been off opiates for 2 years because there's a belief that if you don't put somebody with opiate addiction on Suboxone, they're going to die. And they're not that far off in terms of the stats, but in terms of somebody who's been sober for 2 years and could benefit from really ongoing sobriety, maybe you give them a chance. How about that? Right?
Yeah. Because when I heard that, I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But see, I'm from like the old school variety. When I detoxed, I didn't have nothing.
I know.
I just went to a little shake and bake, and as far as I know, benzos and alcohol detox that kill you. Opiates, you just don't feel good.
Yeah, you feel like shit. And you're absolutely correct. And alcohol is the one that really can kill you. Benzo, you can smash your head against the wall or get a seizure or something. You get pretty wild. But the opiates is just like a bad flu with a sense of desperation alongside of it, and a lot of body ache and joint ache and that kind of thing, and a desperation to use. Desperation.
You can plug it in now.
Okay.
Caleb got back to me.
Because I wanted to tell you the Bluetooth was off. Your Bluetooth.
Well, it was on. I don't know. Maybe it's because you got that plug now.
Yes, he turned off the Bluetooth.
Of course he did.
So I can go to Clubhouse? Susan?
Yeah, let's try it out. You have to introduce everybody and make it sound good.
Let me get in there first and we'll start a room.
Everybody head on to Clubhouse. And
if you want to talk to Anthony, this is your chance. Again, Jody is advocating Sublocade, a once-a-month injection. Look, those things are for people that are untreatable. I talked to people that say they're addiction medicine specialists and literally argued with me that the possibility of abstinence sobriety existed in nature, that it was possible. It was impossible. They'd never seen it.
What?
Yeah. Specialist. Let me introduce you to Anthony Brown. Here's an example right now. So,
are you on Clubhouse?
I'm on Clubhouse.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Anybody?
You have to tell everybody what you're doing.
Who's everybody?
Oh, it's just you out there now.
Yeah, we're on Clubhouse.
I'm in there.
And we're letting people come on in. If anybody wants to talk, you can raise your hand, and I'll bring you up to
Tell them
the
what the topic is.
podium. The topic has really been sort of drug addiction, serious mental illness, treatment of serious mental illness. There's a hand that's up. There you go.
You sound really good today.
Oh, good. Marley's?
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, I want to know what Anthony sees long term. You can only maintain double jobs, teaching, all this stuff. Is it your house that you picture to be where you are when you're 70? Or I'm an old psych nurse, and I have noticed that now that I sold my business, I'm building a new business, but everything's centered into care of people that work for me, whatever. All those traits are still there. So I'm curious how you're going to use all of the stuff you've learned here into another post-retirement zone.
Where did you work?
I worked in Iowa.
And what kind of facility?
In an acute mental health hospital.
So you know, it's funny. You remind me of many of the nurses I worked with back in the 80s. There was a certain, you know what I mean? There was, it had a certain kind of, I don't know what it was, but there was definitely something going on between the 50s and the 80s, that there was a certain group that got involved in psych nursing, and they were great. And I don't think, your guys' wisdom needs to be bottled.
Well, and part of it is, and I was listening to Anthony on that, most people don't know how to talk to like somebody who's out of control, delusional, whatever.
Yeah.
For some reason, we were raised, I don't know if it's with less judgment or you didn't minimize them. You never made fun of it.
No.
You just, what I refer to it as, when you were talking about a good conversationalist quite a while back, I think it was with Dana Perino, about an active listener.
Oh yeah, that was Dana.
It's
funny. I was thinking about her just yesterday, because there's listening with your whole body. I call that, and
Yes.
and in her case was something even different. I could feel her like in my head. I could feel her sort of penetrating me as she listened, and it made me very chatty. I was so not used to being listened to that it made me talk a lot.
But I think that's a skill set I noticed in that age group. And when I watch Anthony talk, and he talks about going out and talking to the homeless, I see that same listening vibe coming off of him.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And I think that's the trait that it doesn't exist in the current grouping of healthcare providers in psych areas, especially.
Really interesting. Anthony?
Yeah, I agree. It's really fascinating because a lot of people are getting into the industry because they feel that nursing is going to make a bunch of money.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Even in the psych nursing, though, really? Psych nursing seems like kind of, you got to be interested in that.
Well, psych nursing is an acquired taste.
I guess so. Well, some of it, you guys will, I'm glad the three of us are talking. You'll relate to the fact that some of it is, the backstage humor and the community that you share with other people. You know what I mean? There's this lot of, it's a different kind of collegiality or community than there is in a medical facility. Medical facility is like you're in a firehouse. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of collegiality and support of each other. But in a psych setting, it's a little more entertaining, I think.
And then after work, you go to the bar that the guy that they can never get off alcohol owns and runs, and you eat pancakes that are called manhole covers because they're so gigantic, and you sit around and visit.
Well, that's the other thing is that there has to be boundaries between the patient and the staff, but you can still be humans sharing the human experience, Yeah,
I think that's what's really important, or that helps in psych, is that they get a feeling that you understand that they're still people.
Yeah.
And once you get that rapport, it's kind of cool. And a lot of people don't understand that because there's sometimes I have to drop my professional dialogue just to be able to reach somebody on a level
Yeah.
where they are. And people will say, well, why are you talking to him like that? It's like, because that's the way he talks to me, you know? And we get on a point and wonder how come the guy doesn't act out on me, but he acts on other people because they think Anthony's cool. Well, Anthony has boundaries, but I also know that you're a person. But as far as what am I doing all this for? What am I gonna do when I'm 70? I hope in my heart, and it could be a Pollyannish dream, but I hope that I'm able to one day put a dent in this whole homeless population.
Cool.
Well, dude, I'm having trouble living with not doing something about it. So let's all join forces. But I think I know why they spoke to you differently, Anthony, because you're not from Squaresville. You know? So, all right, Marley, it's great to talk to you.
Hey, Drew,
Hey.
I have one more thought for you.
Sure.
There's all this conversation about fixing the problem in California. I just came through there with my motorhome because I was traveling all winter.
Mhm.
And oh my goodness,
Yeah.
it's crazy
It's
down
crazy,
there. But
yeah.
what I was going to say is what I would like to see so you don't end up too far away from the people is if you can find somebody who would come in for governor and let you have mental health and addiction services and let you be in charge of that and leave you alone.
Well, the Marlies, the issue is, am I pronouncing your name right? Is it Marlis or Marlies?
Either one.
Okay.
Kids in Europe call me Marlies. In
Okay.
the States, they call me Marlis. So
I have been thinking about running for some sort of office in the state, a governor or something. I don't want to. I really don't want to. But I feel like somebody's got to do something here. And the problem is not that there is a incompetency in the offices for these sorts of oversights. It's that the laws suck. We have to change a bunch of laws. And if we don't change the laws, there's nothing going to change. Nothing going to change.
my concern is that you end up in a position that's so high up the ladder that you lose the ability to advocate for the
I understand.
stuff that you're
Well,
passionate
I want you to know right now I'm looking at a position at a county type level that is about advocating. So I don't want this governor thing, but people keep coming at me about that. But I don't know about Anthony, how you feel, but I wake up every day feeling like the citizens of California need to get California back. We're like carrying this state on our back, and it's like the state should be serving us, not us carrying the state for political and special interest needs. I don't know. Anyway, that's my little enough of that. Thank you, Marlis. Appreciate it very much. Let's see. I'm looking at the thread again.
Pick up Joshua. He's out there.
He's not raising his hand.
Oh, Joshua.
People have to raise
your
their hand if they want to talk.
He said he had a question for you.
Well, all you got to do is raise your hand, and I will go to you. I don't want to bum rush anybody.
Also, tell everybody about your vaccination situation.
Yeah, so I had. I'm surprised you want me to talk about it. You tell me I'm whiny. So, so I had the Janssen or Johnson & Johnson vaccine on Thursday. I chose that vaccine because I really don't want to get a vaccine because I've been following my additive score, as most people in this thread know, and my antibody levels have stayed sky high. So I really don't need it, but we are going to travel in June, and up until this point, in order to get on a plane for international travel, it's our 30th wedding anniversary. We're going to go somewhere away, and I can't wait to get out of this country. I'm sort of feeling that need right now. And I don't want to do it twice. I knew I'd react to the vaccine. I react to vaccines like crazy. I react to viruses horribly. I had a terrible time with Epstein-Barr. I had a terrible time with H1N1, and I had a terrible time with COVID.
Wait, no.
And I've had now a terrible time with the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. I was sick as shit yesterday, and I don't feel well today. I'm sweating.
After dark, so
I did some after dark shows. That actually was distracting to me, at least. But then after that, I just felt like hell all day. And I slept like a maniac last night. And now, before I started this, I was wanting to sleep again. So anyway,
what?
that's my story.
It's not the end of the world.
See, Anthony? You see that? She wanted me to tell the story just so she could shit on me. That's what. That's what. You see how that works?
Anthony didn't have really any reaction like that.
However, I'm really glad I don't care that I had a reaction. My
It's probably
reaction.
because you've had COVID. It's a little tougher.
Well, the immune reaction. Yeah, if you've had COVID, you generally get a little worse reaction. But the fact that my body's reacting like that, I'm like, good. That's what I want this to do. I
think
want
you also had
to have a
some
big immune response.
PTSD too.
No.
You remembered you were laying in bed going, I can't get up, and you were having memories.
It's not even the PTSD. It's so much as, oh my God, I just went through this. I don't want to go through this again. And that's my general note on COVID right now. I don't want to deal with that again. That was enough.
Yeah, but when you're on that cruise in Greece, you will remember how horrible it was.
I will. I won't be thinking about.
You won't remember.
Yeah, I
how
will.
horrible.
Thank you. I will not be thinking about anything. Alanya,
I said not.
ringing in my ear is still pretty bad most of the time. Most of the time.
How was the ringing after the vaccination?
Same. Worse. It wasn't bad this morning. It's bad right now. Interestingly, so. And sometimes I notice it gets worse when I put an earpiece in for whatever reason. If I put like iPods in, or I've got I've got sort of headphones in my ear right now, it gets worse.
I
don't
have
know why.
a zit in my ear from earpods. It's annoying. It woke me up.
Does
in the middle of the
anyone
night.
wish? Okay, here's some hands up.
See, we all have our own problems.
Oh, Marlis, you want to come back again? I think Marlis. Let's see if she's up here. Oh no, we did.
She's going to help you with your vaccine.
Okay. Hand raising was turned off. I didn't mean to do that. I meant to turn the hand raising on. You got it. I'm trying to do a couple things at once, guys.
I know.
Hey, I'm Dr. Drew.
Open to everyone. There we go. Yeah.
I got the other day I enrolled at a university to get my FNP.
Your what?
My family nurses practitioner.
Oh, good for you. Nice. So you're going to go out and practice in the private sector at all, you think?
Well, Brown Manor and the homeless people, and with that type of license, I'm in.
Yeah, I'm thinking about all you could do. It'd be very interesting. When will that sort of be done? That training?
It's gonna be. I just enrolled the other day. My class starts, I think, the 26th of June, and then 2 years after that.
2 years. So in 2 years, you and I are gonna roll out and go render services somewhere.
Hey, I'm ready.
Yeah, man, that would be a lot of fun. We got hold me to that. We got to go do. Whether it's. I have, you'll have the same experience I have. I've had so much clinical experience. I want to go out and just give back from it. You know what I mean? Just give out. And so to go out and just use, you will have had all this great experience, and you'll want to just unload it for people, because a lot of people don't have it. The psych and the medicine side is not that common anymore. Mm. So good for you. I love that. Kim says, bizarre about DMX. Do you know DMX? That was a drug story, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, they're blaming it on the vaccine.
He had a heart attack and a stroke.
Yeah,
something.
But all that is from low oxygen because of not breathing, because of opiates typically. I mean, that's just the way it is. Yeah, Tom Cigar says he OD'd. So that's that. All right. Well,
Joshua doesn't want to ask a question after all that?
I'll invite him up.
Come on, Joshua.
All right, I'll invite him up, and he's being invited to speak. Let's
see
if he wants to
hand
come
up?
He did not have his hand up, so now you're pressuring poor Joshua to come up.
No, don't then if he doesn't want to.
So.
He said he had a question today, or maybe he said he was just going to go on Clubhouse.
Yes, I think that's what he said. You can fix the homeless problem by giving them jobs. Oh, Kevin, you don't understand Anthony, you answer that. You just give them a job, Anthony. How about you? We could have just given you had jobs.
I don't want to go to work.
Right.
The problem is where people don't realize, I mean, even though I want to go to work, there's a lot of stuff. When you don't take showers for a couple of days and you're malodorous, people look at you weird. That affects your self-esteem. You really don't want to go to work the next day.
And not only that, I mean, if you're, again, you didn't have serious mental illness. A large percentage have serious mental illness, and it's not real. It takes a long, on average, if you had someone on the street that'd been there, say, for a year with delusional thought process and meth heroin, how long do you think, if that person were actively engaged in treatment, before they could really return to the workforce? That's somebody who then engages in the treatment every day. How long before returning to the workforce?
Oh my God. I would say at least at at least maybe 18 months, 2 years.
Yeah, I was thinking 2 or 3 years. So yeah,
Yeah.
so Kevin, in order to get somebody from the streets into the workforce, and here's what kills me. That person could be back in the workforce if you gave him that treatment and made him or her made in the sense of motivate them to do the treatment. They can go back to the workforce. But giving that person who is sick a job is no different than giving somebody in an ICU with pneumonia or a heart failure a job. They're still sick. You have to deal with the sick first. Then they can work. And to pretend that that isn't happening or that they're living their best life sick as they are, that is murder. That is murder, in my opinion. You're killing people and just causing terrible consequences for people.
Yeah, then you have to also take into consideration that the relapses of the mental illness.
Yep.
They could be hearing voices at work, get paranoid, they're unable to function. Lord help them if they're dealing with heavy machinery and things of that nature.
Yeah, Kevin, you've never seen serious mental illness. Clearly, you've never seen it. You've never seen full-on addiction. You've never seen serious mental illness. And I'm sorry that you've not seen that, but it's an illness that needs treatment. Anthony had the addiction piece of it. And again, let's say somebody, when you were up on Harbor and Wilson, somebody gave you a job, and let's say you even wanted the job. How would that have gone down?
I probably stole something to get high and lose the job.
Right, exactly.
Addiction is more important to me than working.
That's right. When somebody has addiction, you have to understand they love and think about drugs and alcohol more than anything else, including their own survival, including their children, their work. Nothing else has the same priority as using. You have to understand that, or you don't understand addiction. Am I saying that clear enough, Anthony?
You're saying it clear enough. And the irony of it is, how many people, and I'm not going to put nobody on the spot, I hope, but how many people have to recover from drinking that they call in sick, and they continue to repeat that behavior?
Oh, yeah. Well, one of the weird things to me is that we have in the last couple of years, we've sort of parsed out drugs versus alcohol as though there's a difference. You know what I mean? Like, oh, drug addiction, I understand that. But alcohol kills people every day too. It's a carcinogen. It's a toxin to most human tissue, and it's the only drug of abuse that can kill you in withdrawal, not uncommonly, and it's the one socially endorsed drug. Awesome. We're just so sensible with these things, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Joshua's up there.
Yeah,
but
all right, let's get Joshua in here. Yeah, I'm getting him in.
Joshua.
Hang on, I gotta.
He's one of your oldest fans. Not
He's
oldest,
not,
like old, but maybe he's afraid. I don't know.
He's not coming up as a.
There's a couple more people there though. Sahar has her. Is that when they put a little horn tooting? Does that mean they're holding their hand up?
Joshua, your mic is off. Do you want to make any comments? Susan, what are you doing? You've really
I'm not doing anything.
put Josh on the spot here. I'm moving him back to the audience.
I didn't do it on purpose.
If you want to speak, raise your hand, please. We'll be happy to talk to you. It's open to everyone. There we go. Amanda wants to say something. Whoops. Hold on. How can I get Amanda up here? There we go. Amanda. Hey, Amanda, what's going on?
Drew?
Hey there.
I mean, I feel like I've known you for years.
Here we are.
So I've seen a lot of rooms and probably half joking about being addicted to Clubhouse.
Well, social media is a addictive thing. I get it.
Yeah, and I think also, especially during the pandemic, people are just looking to connect with anyone. And
Yeah.
I know as a mom, I've been stuck home a lot with my kids while my husband goes to work. And Clubhouse has been a really nice way to talk to someone above the age of 25.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was just wondering what is the psychology behind, you think, becoming addicted to a social network like Clubhouse? How can you limit yourself?
I think it's if you've got the gene, right? If you got the thing, you're gonna be drawn into things that have reward. And these algorithms are set up specifically to draw you in and attract you and to keep you going back. So no one is at more, God, my COVID brain today, risk for that kind of compulsion than people with the addictive pathology. and you have to, you have to limit it. You have to actually have some sort of structure with it, or periods of abstinence. That's the other thing. If it starts to escalate, you got to go cold turkey for a while and see if you can withdraw. But on the other, I don't like discouraging it too much, because particularly in the face of all these lockdowns and things, there's a human relationship part of this that I think is important. Like you said, you're with your kids otherwise, and this is a way to connect with people away from your kids.
Yeah, and it feels in some way a little more authentic than being able to hide behind quick posts and trying to be funny.
Yeah. It is more authentic. It is much better.
First time I was on Twitter, I felt like I was let out of prison.
First time you were on Twitter?
Yeah, like all of a sudden I had all these friends and people to talk to that had things in common. This was 12 years ago when they first started Twitter, and I was like, oh my God.
And your kids were just getting out of high school.
Yeah,
and stuff
I would talk about ice skating, and people would go, oh, and I'd show them pictures, and it was like weird. Like all of a sudden I had like a life outside my kids and the school. And
so that's what Amanda's talking about. Imagine if you had Clubhouse and you could go in and just chat.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I know, you would remember I used to play Texas Hold'em and on Facebook. That was like my only fun thing to do.
Yeah.
And then
I
I didn't pay money, you guys. I just like playing the cards. It was fun.
For hours on end. Sound familiar, Anthony, Amanda?
No, it wasn't hours on end. It was like an hour when you went to work and the kids went to bed. That was it. You were in Loveline till 1 a.m.
Yeah, it's true. Thanks, Amanda. Appreciate the comment. I'm going to try to get Joshua up here now. I think I can do it. Let's see if we can get him in here. Josh, how are you? Josh?
Yeah, Dr.
Hey,
Drew.
we got you. How about that?
Okay, how you doing?
Good.
Good. So what's your plan going forward for the homeless problem? I noticed, I've listened to a lot of what you said about it, but it seems to be hard to get anything going.
Well, it is, and I'm sort of trolling my way into things. We need to expand conservatorship. We need to lower the threshold for conservatorships. We need to reestablish gravely disabled. We don't have gravely disabled anymore, really. Gravely disabled needs to be a real category, and inability to live safely independently needs to be a category of gravely disabled. We have to open up Lantern and Petra Short again. We have to revise Prop 47, revise Prop 57, get rid of AB 109. We have to get this. Anthony, you'd love this one. We have to get rid of the IMD exclusion. We have to get rid of the IMD exclusion. Do you know what that is?
Somewhat. Go ahead and explain.
It's the Medicare Act of 1965 had as an exclusion institution for mental diseases. So if you were an IMD, an institution for mental diseases, you could not have access to resources. So every time you hear about parity, if it doesn't include IMD exclusion, how is that parity? You must get rid of the IMD exclusion. Then we will have resources to build and care in the residential setting, which is what Anthony and I have been talking about. You must get rid of that. And whenever they talk about parity, I've been through 3 cycles of parity. You probably have 2, Anthony, at least 2, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And here's what they do. They go, they must provide the equivalent services, equivalent resources to mental illness as to medical illness as determined by the insurance company. Done. It's over now. And it has to be as determined by the treating professionals, because the insurance company then sets any criteria they want. And they're always ridiculous, and they always mandate people out of the hospital long before they're ready, long before. Brains heal slowly. You heard Anthony, 2 years to get off the street and return to the workforce. He's right. Maybe 3, maybe 5. Takes a long time. And we have to do this, or every other country on earth does this. What's wrong with us? And most states do it. It's only California that really doesn't do it. So I am quite upset about all that. So those are all my short-term ideas. And build more psychiatrists, more locked beds, and more residential facilities. And we will take care of the problem. That will be the end of the problem. So go ahead.
Do you think that the next administration will eventually kind of get the gears going? Because it seems that would be something that they would be interested in doing.
No. Because there will be zero acknowledgement of anything I just said. because literally there is zero acknowledgement that drugs and alcohol and mental illness are a factor in all of this. And it is a continued convenient symbol of income disparity, even though it has very little to do with income disparity. Of course, if you're so ill you can't make a living, there's going to be an income disparity. But they don't want to address that at all. And it's insanity that keeps them in this sort of... When I have told people exactly what I just said about the IMD exclusion and the Prop 47 and the conservatorships, they look like, I've never heard that before. What a clever new idea. What is wrong here in this state? What is going on? So anyway, that's it. Who's
yeah,
Trump?
I mean, I think the mental health piece is the one that gets people scared, because I think if you start saying to people that, you're going to tell them that they have to...
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
Right.
There are ways to motivate. Anthony and I know ways to motivate people. There are ways to motivate people to get well. And none of that is being done. None of that. Anthony, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's anytime you tell anybody anything, you're going to get resistance.
Yeah, absolutely.
We just went through the whole thing about the mask. Did we tell you? We were told to put on masks and we hate it.
Yeah.
Okay. And the same thing with dealing with mental illness. We have to remember society as a whole, and we do have our part. These are somebody's brothers and sisters.
Yep.
And I hate saying the word need, but I highly encourage people to start thinking like that. Maybe we can start a wave that way and have it go from ground up.
Well, Anthony, I've sent family members up to Sacramento to beg them to give them the ability to help their loved ones. They have money, they have a bed, they have a doctor ready to go, and they are told by the state to F off, scram. Who do you think you are? They're living the life they want to live. It's really shocking when you see the suffering they've caused to the families and the people who are dying in the streets.
Yeah, and the first time something goes haywire out there, like a mass shooting or something, the first thing they're going to say is, hey, that's mental illness.
Yeah.
Well, the protests were pretty much most of the homeless downtown. Like, that's what started it all.
Well, there was a lot of that going down. But so
and the businesses that have to close down because they can't get the people off their porches of their businesses downtown. It's really sad because, we all
I don't even think we have
to
to bring any of that in. I'm interested in helping the people that are dying on the streets, and they are not living their best lives.
Of course, but it affects everybody.
Oh, the consequences are far-reaching. Don't get me wrong, but the people that are getting in the way of it have no idea what they're talking about. Here's what you do for people that get in the way of us helping homeless. Go, how many years have you worked in psychiatry? How many years have you been in a psych hospital? How many years have you been a nurse? How many have you been in a psych? 0? You're not part of this conversation. Do not even get in the conversation. You have no idea what you're talking about. We should not be talking to you. Right, Anthony? Am I off base with that?
No, you're right on. The only thing is they'll counter argue and go, well, hey, we got the money.
Well, we'll see. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to thank you guys over on Clubhouse. I appreciate it. Thanks, Josh, for the comment.
People are just starting to pile in.
They are, but I'm going to kind of wrap up. I don't have a lot of energy today.
Yeah.
And so I have to kind of wrap the room up. Thank you guys for stopping by. I'm looking at Clubhouse now. I'm going to end the room. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Leslie, Jason, Jake, Greg, Vanessa, Michael, Colleen, Matt, and
all
Amanda.
y'all.
And, of course, Joshua.
Yep. Thank you, guys. And Anthony, thank you for coming in and chatting, as always. We're gonna make some kind of something. How was it talking to Corolla?
It was cool. He's kind of quiet, but it was good. He's got a bunch of cars. That's kind of cool.
That is kind of cool. What did you expect from him to be like raucous funny? That is not him.
No. It was really interesting because we all know where I come from, but here I get to go hang out for a hot second with Corolla and look at all the sports cars and stuff.
Did he show you or did he give you a tour?
Nate did. Nate gave me a tour.
Corolla would have done it if you'd asked him. Well, next time.
Okay.
All right. What's up for you, Anthony? Where do you want people to go? How do you want people to find you? They need to go to the Brown Manor GoFundMe, right?
AnthonyHowardBrown.com.
Okay, there we go. AnthonyHowardBrown.com.
All his links are there.
All right, excellent.
Brown Manor, donate money. Also on Tuesday, we have a exciting guest that was recommended by one of our biggest fans.
Oh, Dr. Gandhi's coming in. Dr. Monica Gandhi.
Tuesday.
Andrew was just asking about her on the thread here.
No, he's saying, don't miss it, don't miss it. So
So that'll be
everyone
interesting.
be
Apparently a
here.
very positive person. He says she's going to make me feel better. So that's good. I could use to feel a little better.
We could use all the help we can get.
Yeah, right. Like I said, right now I'm sort of messed up because I'm coming off this Janssen vaccine. I'm not myself at all. I'm going to go right to bed, I think. Although you have a dinner thing. We're going to have dinner, right?
Yeah, we're going out
Oof.
in about an hour. About an hour and 20 minutes. Can you handle it?
I think I can handle it.
Cancel it.
No, I can handle it. I need to get out of my head a little bit.
I'm painting my family room, so it's like we don't
can't
have
use our
living
house.
quarters.
Yeah.
It's really dusty and yucky down there.
All right, Anthony. Anything else you want to say before I wrap this thing up?
No, it's always a pleasure hanging out with you. Things are going good. Let's just keep up the fight, and don't forget, homeless people are people too.
100%. And I look forward to your nurse practitioner license getting put in place so we can go give back.
Okay.
All right, my friend. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate it, and we'll see you, Susan, Monday. Correct?
I guess, yeah.
All right.
So
This is something you understand we do at the end of every show, which is me going, "When's the next show?" And you go, "I don't know. I
well, I have a
guess
guest
maybe."
on Tuesday. So
Well, Tuesday we're for sure here, but
yes.
I'd say we should
and
get here
Wednesday,
Monday too.
I don't know what's going on next week. I haven't gotten that far yet.
All right, fair enough.
I want to see what happens this week in the news, and then go ahead and do it.
All right. Hopefully, we'll see you all on Monday.
Okay, bye.
I've struggled with various digestive issues over the years, so gut health is extremely important to me. Now, while gut health awareness has increased, it has led to a wellness trend that inspired a host of kind of questionable marketing claims and even false claims. You've seen the word probiotic attached to all kinds of supplements, drinks, and more, and they may claim to deliver the healthy microorganisms our guts need for proper function, but all too often the promises are really too good to be true. Thankfully, I became aware of a company called Seed and their flagship product, the Daily Synbiotic. That's right. Seed's Daily Synbiotic offers 24 clinically researched strains of microorganisms in a single dose. These strains support gut, skin, and heart health and promotes regularity, sometimes within as little as 24 to 48 hours. To me, what really sets Seed's Daily Synbiotic apart is its delivery system. This is my supply. While some products may offer the right strains, they are fragile and they rarely survive the trip through your gut. Seed uses a capsule-in-capsule design that helps ensure that 100% of the probiotics reach your colon where they matter most. Now, I've been taking Seed's Daily Synbiotic, and I encourage you to check out their story and the science behind what they do. To try it for yourself, just go to seed.com/Dr. Drew. Use code Dr. Drew for 20% off your first month of Daily Synbiotic. That is seed.com/Dr. Drew. Use code DRDREW, Dr. Drew. As we're gradually moving back to opening schools and businesses and, of course, our in-person interactions, I want to remind you, this is all time with cold and flu season getting going. Staying hydrated is key to helping your body deal with the added stress and with the upcoming flu season. My regular fans have heard me talk about a product called Hydrolyte for a long time now. It's an amazing rapid rehydration drink. It's a mix that, well, we're obsessed with here. I'm excited to announce they've just released Hydrolyte Plus Immunity, just in time for cold and flu season. Hydrolyte Plus Immunity starts with their fast-absorbing electrolytes and adds a host of immune-boosting ingredients. Each single-serve, easy-pour drink mix contains 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C and 300 milligrams of elderberry extract, creates what is hopefully immune-boosting formula that's high in antioxidants and zinc. Combining this with Hydrolyte's 7 key electrolytes, it's a fantastic way to stay proactive and properly hydrated. Hydrolyte Plus Immunity comes in convenient, easy-to-pour powder sticks that rapidly dissolve in water and make a great tasting drink that has 75% less sugar than your typical sports drink. It uses all natural flavors and it is gluten-free, dairy-free, caffeine-free, non-GMO, and it is vegan. And you can find Hydrolyte Plus by visiting hydrolyte.com/Dr. Drew. Again, that's HYDRALYTE.com/DRDRW. And be sure to use our code Dr. Drew 25 at checkout for a special discount. I am so grateful for our friends at Blue Microphones. Not only have they completely changed what our show sounds like, they've given me headphones so I can monitor things better. This is the mic for millions of creative people, and now I know why. I'm so grateful for them completely changing the quality of our audio. You'll find Blue mics like Yeti and the Mouse, which we're using here, both in pro studios and home studios, literally all over the world. Their popular Yeti caster is a Blue Yeti microphone plus a boom arm system that's behind many of your favorite podcasts. I run into them all the time, and now I know why. If you've ever thought about creating your own podcast or YouTube channel, Blue can make you sound and look great. Just visit bluemic.com and click Get Started, and you can start telling your story.